Okay, so we're looking at writing equations of a straight line, and this is video number 2. And what we're going to do in this video is we're going to get equations of straight lines from a sketch and equations of a straight line given the gradient and the y-intercept. And in the next video, you'll be doing gradient and a point, and then given 2 points. Okay, so moving on to the next page. Hang on a sec. And we're back again. I just had to stretch my cord a bit. Okay, so let's looking at the next slide. So just a reminder that all straight lines can be written in the form y equals mx plus b. And the things to note, okay, there's a power 1 there. So when you see an x to the power of 1, then it has to be a straight line. And the m is the gradient. So the number in front of x is the gradient. And the number that doesn't have any x's, that's the y-intercept. So the gradient is sometimes called the slope. And sometimes the y-intercept is, you might see it as where it cuts the y-axis. So that's important to know. Okay, so let's have a look at a couple of examples. And I've done them in advance. So this first line, okay, you can see that it's going up to the right-hand side. Okay, so this number here, okay, there's the y-axis. That number there is where it crosses the y-axis. So straight away, we can say that the y-intercept is 5, and that's the letter B. Now, it's heading up to the right, so I call that a positive gradient. That's defined as a positive gradient. I don't do it, everyone does it. And we're looking for a little rise over run calculation. So that distance up is the rise, and that distance along is called the run. And so the rise is 5, and the run is 2. And so we put the rise on top of the run, and it's a positive 5 on 2 because it's heading up to the right. So the answer to the equation of the line is 5 over 2x plus 5. Okay, looking at the second one. Okay, this one is heading up to the left. Okay, I call them up to the right or up to the left. Okay, so this time, here's the y-axis. This is where it crosses the y-axis. So we say that the y-intercept is 3, and that's the value of b. Okay, the gradient is left, going to the left. So we say it's a negative gradient, and that number there is the rise, so that is a 3, and across the bottom is the run, so that number is a 4, so it's 3 over 4, the rise over the run, but we say it's a negative 3 over 4 because it's going to the left, so the answer to the gradient to the equation is y equals minus 3/4 x plus 3. Okay, so I want you to do these yourselves. Pause the tape, and when you're ready, come back. Okay, so you should have had a go. So here's the y-axis. That's where it crosses. So that means straight away that the b is minus 2, and we'll do the other one. So there's the y-axis. That's where it crosses. So b equals minus 1. Okay. Okay, so the gradient. It's heading to the right, so the gradient is plus. It's heading to the left, so the gradient is a minus. Okay, so that's the rise, which is 2, so we put 2 on top. That's the run, and the run is 3, so it's 2/3. And so the answer is 2/3 x minus 2. And that's your final answer. Okay, so here, okay, so we've got a negative gradient. So that's the rise, so the rise is 1, so you put a 1 on top. That's the run is 2, so you put a 2 on the bottom. And so the equation is minus a half x minus 1, and that's your answer. Okay. So next one is straight off what we've just been doing. So the heading is like, this is the second way of doing it. So given a gradient, like a second version, given a gradient and a y-intercept, and this is as easy as it gets. So they say the gradient is 2, they say the y-intercept is minus 1, so it's just 2x minus 1. They say the gradient is 0, and the y-intercept is 2, so it's 0x plus 2, but if there's no x's, you just write it as y equals 2. Okay? Okay, so you can't get any really slip-ups there. Okay, see if we've got some for yourself. Oh, no. So that's just pretty easy. Just a couple of special cases. So when you have a gradient of 0, okay, it's a flat line, it has no slope. So the answer is, it's just the y-intercept. Okay, so the y-intercept is 5. So it's just y equals 5. So when you have a horizontal line, it's y equals 5. But with a vertical line, it's just a little bit different. Okay, it's going straight up, So the rise is infinite. And there is no run. There is no run, no. There is not a run. And so you can't have a zero run. You can't divide by zero. And you can't have infinity on the top. It's undefined. So what we say is there is no y-intercept, there is no gradient, and so this is the only equation that actually starts with an x equals, so that's a special. So when you have a vertical line, it's an x equals, and that's the only time it happens. I think that might be the end of the tape. Oh no. So here's some for you to try yourself. So write the equation when there's a gradient of -3 and a y-intercept of 1, and then I just want to test you on your vertical and horizontal. So pause the tape, and when you're ready, come back live. Okay, so the gradient is -3, so that means it's -3x, and the y-intercept is 1. Now 1 is positive 1, so that's the answer. Okay, so again, number 2, this is the vertical line, so it's an x equals, it crosses at -5, so the answer is just x equals -5. And the last one is the flat line, so there's no gradient, gradient is 0, so it's just y equals 7, where it crosses there. Okay, I think that might be it. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that. See you next time.